Hi yogis, welcome. Today I am bringing you a mixed level flow class. You don't need any specific props, but of course if you like to work with them, then have them close by. We're going to get started on our backs in Supta Baddha Konasana. So come on down, soles of the feet together, knees wide, and do whatever you like with your arms here. Whatever feels natural and most comfortable. Take any little wriggles, make any little adjustments that you need. And eventually settling into stillness. Take an inhale through your nose. And an open mouth exhale. Again, like that, inhale. Open mouth, exhale. Close your mouth and breathe in and out through your nose. Using these opening moments to check in. To notice how your body is feeling on a physical, maybe emotional level. And when we check in, it's a nice way of kind of deciding what we need to get out of the practice. So there will be opportunities to make this flow a little spicier. There's also plenty of chances to modify or take rest if you need. Allowing your inner thighs to stretch, to open. Maybe you feel this in your outer hips or maybe your ankles. If you feel any clenching or gripping through the muscles, see if you can specifically soften into this space. I'll take another 3 deep breaths here. Take your hands to your outer legs and draw your knees all the way together. You're going to keep the sole of the left foot on the floor, interlace your fingers behind the right thigh, and then straighten and bend your right leg a couple of times. So the foot is lifting up towards the ceiling. And after you've done that a couple of times, you're then going to hold in a hamstring stretch. And this is going to differ depending on how your hamstrings feel. So you can either stay with the hands behind your right thigh. If you've got a little more length available to you, you could take your peace fingers around the right big toe. And then if you like, you can extend the left leg long as well. Try to keep that leg in neutral. And by that I mean your left toes facing up towards the ceiling. Now, if your leg is starting to shake, or if you feel like, the right hamstrings are really tight, try bending the knee a little bit more, focusing a little more on your exhales. Smooth, deep breaths in and out through the nose. Rebend your left knee, place the sole of the foot on the floor, and then you'll take your right hand to the outer right foot, bend the knee and take it out to the side. So you're in a half happy baby. Now, if that's not available to you, you can keep interlacing the hands behind the right thigh, but your knee is bent and it's kind of skimming out towards your right underarm. And then again, of course, you can always extend the left leg. If you extend the leg and you feel like you're rolling to the right, then try taking your left arm out to the left, press down through the palm, just so that you can even out the hips. And then think of lengthening your right sitting bone towards the front edge of your mat. Noticing where it is that you feel the stretch. Take both legs up towards the ceiling, shake them out a couple of times. Maybe you want to scissor one leg in front of the other or circle out through the ankles. Sole of the right foot back onto the mat, interlace your fingers behind the back of the left leg, and we're straightening and bending the left leg a couple of times. So if you are on the tighter side, maybe you continue to move throughout this stretch. So you might continue to straighten and bend the leg. You can slow it down a little. If you want to stay in a more static stretch, then perhaps taking the peace fingers around the big toe and doing your best here to mirror what you did on the first side. If you are really open through the hamstrings, be mindful you're not locking out the knee. Rebend the right knee if the leg's extended. Find your half happy baby, either holding to the outer edge of the left foot or behind the left knee. So the knee is bent and it's out to the side. And then perhaps you're re-extending the right leg. Lengthen your left sitting bone towards the front edge of the mat. And as much as you're pressing down into the left foot or the leg, can you push the leg and foot back into your hand? Hug both of your knees into your chest. Give them a nice big squeeze. And maybe take a couple of rocks from side to side. You might want to circle out through the hips or circle your ankles, point and flex the feet. So just do what you need to do here. Getting a little bit of movement into the body. And then when you're ready, re-hug the knees back in. We're going to rock and roll up and down the length of the spine, or you can always roll to one side. And we're going to come to tabletop position, hands and knees. We'll move through cat-cows here, dropping the belly. Inhale, lift your sternum, lift your sitting bones for cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. Press the floor away from you, maybe even look towards your navel. Again, inhale through cow. Exhale, cat. Again, inhale. And exhale. Take about another 5 rounds of this. If you wish to add on some additional movements, go for it. Let this just be really organic movement. Don't overthink it. There's no right or wrong. Finishing up the round that you're on, and you'll come back to your tabletop position. Go ahead and extend the right leg back, then the left leg back. Find your high plank with your feet hips width distance apart. Press the floor away from you. Your arms are straight and strong. Pull up through the belly. Squeeze your butt and lengthen your tailbone towards the heels. So we're going to spin both heels to the left, reach the right arm up for a modified side plank, Vashisthasana. So your feet are staggered here. And then think of finding some length from your left hip to your left underarm. Maybe you're lifting your gaze towards your right thumb. Last breath. And bring the right hand back down into plank position. Either stay in plank or take 2 slow controlled push-ups. So remember, you could always do these with the knees down. And we'll meet back in our high plank. Spin your heels to the right, reach the left arm up. Vashisthasana with staggered feet. Find length from right hip to right underarm. Maybe lift your gaze towards the left thumb. Release the left hand back down to the mat. And again, hold or take 2 push-ups. Slow and controlled, particularly on the pushing back up from the mat. And then from here, downward facing dog, lift the hips up and back. Take a couple of breaths, maybe pedaling out through the feet. I'm going to lift the right leg up, bend the knee, open up through the hip. Now this is not how I normally teach the pose, but for where we're going today, I want you to drop the left forearm a little closer to the mat. Think like you are almost going to flip your dog, but don't go that all the way, right? So we're just really trying to get the stretch to the right side of the body. You might feel it down through the right hip, maybe into the right belly. And you'll step your right foot to the outside of your right hand, wriggle the left foot back, and then lower the left knee down. Either stay here or take your right hand onto the inside edge of the right thigh and just start to roll the right leg open a little. You could even come onto the blade edge of the foot, maybe spinning the chest open to the right. So we're just focusing on opening through that inner thigh. Bring your right hand back down to the mat. Tuck the back toes, lift the knee, straighten through both legs and fold. You're in a wide pyramid pose. So if you have blocks, maybe you're placing them underneath the hands. You could always come up onto your fingertips if you need. Think of drawing the right hip back, left hip forwards. Stretching once again into the hamstrings. Downward facing dog, step back. Lift the left leg. Bend the knee, open up through the hip. Like you were going to flip the dog, but don't. And then drop the right forearm a little closer to the mat. So really trying to get into the left side of the body. Hopefully it feels nice for you. It definitely does for me. Huge step, left foot to the outside of the left hand. Wiggle the right foot back and then lower the back knee down. So you can peel onto the blade edge of the left foot, hand to the inner thigh, and just start to gently open the leg a little wider. If this doesn't feel quite right on your knee or ankle, then just your regular lizard will be fine. Both hands back to the mat. Lift the back knee. Straighten through both legs, wide pyramid. Pull the left hip back, right hip forwards as you fold. Downward facing dog. Inhale, glide into plank position. Find a nice strong plank. Again, feet, hips width distance apart. You'll lower down onto your forearms for forearm plank. So option to stay here, or if you want a little bit more, spin both heels to the left, drop the left hip towards the mat, come back through center and change sides. So if you're coming with me and doing these side to side actions, be really mindful that you don't pike the hips up when you come back through your forearm plank, right? So we're trying to keep the hips low, but without sinking. You might start to feel this in the obliques or in your hips. Think of pulling the chest forwards a little bit more. We'll go for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Sphinx pose. Lower the hips down. Pull your chest forwards. Hopefully that feels nice. Stretch the belly. And release all the way down. Take your hands wider than the mat up onto your fingertips. Inhale, peel the chest up. Fingertip cobra. And release. 2 more. Inhale, rise up. Press down into the tops of the feet. And release. Last one. Come on up. And then hold on this one. Maybe you want to shimmy out through the shoulders. Or just take a few extra breaths in your back bend. And release. Downward facing dog. Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Walk your feet all the way to the top of the mat. And then you'll take your feet wide. They can be as wide as the mat, as wide as you need really, in order to come down into your version of Malasana, bringing the hands to prayer. So you could always use blocks to prop up the butt if you need. And then I want you to try and squeeze your knees away from your elbows. So you're using your outer hip muscles to squeeze the knees out. Lift the chest and extend through the crown of the head. Take another full breath in here. Exhale, fold, lift the hips up and heel toe the feet, hips width distance. Inhale as you lengthen. Exhale, fold. Hold opposite elbows, or if you want to open the chest a little bit more, you can interlace the fingers back behind you. Hang out here in your Uttanasana, your ragdoll. Release your arms, press into your feet, begin to roll yourself all the way up to standing, and at the top, lift the arms up, reach up. Gather your hands into prayer at heart center. Take a moment to set an intention, find a focus for your practice today. Inhale deeply. Open mouth, exhale. Release your arms, allow your eyes to open. Inhale, sweep the arms up, big stretch, reach up, maybe look up. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana, soft bend in the knees. Inhale as you lengthen halfway, strong belly, strong legs. We'll step back for this first round, high plank, lower through chaturanga. You can come all the way to the belly for cobra, roll the shoulders back, peel the chest up. Take it back, downward facing dog. Lift your right leg. Bend the knee, open up through the hip. Step your right foot to the outside of the right hand. Left foot to the outside of the left hand. Finding Malasana again. Pressing down evenly through both feet. Take another breath here. Exhale, fold, hips lift, heel toe the feet, hips width distance. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Rise to stand, reach up. Hands to prayer. Again, inhale as you reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale as you lengthen. Step back through your vinyasa. So remember, you can keep modifying if you feel warm enough to start adding in your upward facing dog. Go for it. We meet in downward facing dog. Lift the left leg. Bend the knee, open up through the hip. Step your left foot to the outside of the left hand. Right foot to the outside of the right hand. Malasana again. And fold. Lift the hips. Heel toe the feet. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Rise to stand, reach up. Hands to prayer. Flowing with breath. Inhale as you reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Step or float back through your vinyasa. Downward facing dog. Right leg lifts. Step your right foot to the outside of the right hand. Left foot to the outside of the left hand. Inhale in Malasana. Exhale, fold. Lift the hips, heel toe the feet. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Rise to stand, reach up. Hands to prayer. Last round. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, step or float. Vinyasa. Downward facing dog. Lift the left leg. Step left foot to the outside of the left hand. Right foot to the outside of the right hand. Find a Malasana for your inhale. Exhale, fold, heel toe the feet. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Rise to stand. Hands to prayer. Set up for Utkatasana chair pose. Feet can be as narrow or as wide as you like. Sit the hips back and then reach your arms up. Couple of breaths here to settle in. There's lots of different ways that we can approach each pose. And today, chair pose is not a huge focus in the sequence. So just find a chair that, feels somewhat strong, but a little comfortable, something that you can manage. Take another breath here. Exhale, fold. Inhale as you lengthen. Exhale, step or float, vinyasa. Downward facing dog. So in your dog, your feet are hips width distance apart. Spin the left toes out, step the right foot up. Warrior one, reach your arms up. Pause here. So take some time to refine the pose, drawing the right hip back, left hip forwards. And then really try to press into the outer edge of the left foot, all the way down into the heel, and then lift through the inner arch. And you'll feel like this nice stretch. I say nice, but maybe a strong stretch through the left calf muscle and ankles. Keep the legs as they are. Wrap the arms behind you. Either hold opposite elbows or interlace the fingers. Inhale, lift the chest. Humble warrior. Either rest your chest on the right thigh or drop your right shoulder to the inside of your knee. And then keep pulling your right hip back towards the left heel. Bend a little deeper into the right knee. Keep the feet, the legs strong. Inhale, rise back up. Warrior one, reach up. Exhale, hands to the mat, vinyasa. Downward facing dog. Spin the right toes out a little, step the left foot up, warrior one, Virabhadrasana one. So we're pausing, taking it a little slower on this first round so that you can set up the pose. Finding the strength in your legs, maybe even a sense of lightness through the torso. And then wrap the arms behind you, either interlacing the fingers with the opposite thumb on top or change up the grip of the forearms. Lift the chest. Exhale, fold, humble warrior.
Now, particularly if you're dropping to the inside of the front leg, really try to squeeze the left hip back towards the right heel. So we don't want it swinging out to the side. Press into the feet. Inhale, rise back up. Warrior one, reach up, maybe look up. Exhale, hands to the floor, step back, vinyasa. Downward facing dog. Take 5 deep breaths here. Bend the knees, inhale, look towards your hands, step or lightly jump, top of the mat. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Chair pose, sit low, reach the arms up. Rise to stand, Tadasana. Moving with the breath. Inhale through chair. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, step or float, vinyasa. Downward facing dog. Spin the left toes out, step the right foot up. Inhale, reach up, warrior one. Wrap the arms behind you, interlace the fingers. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, humble warrior. Stay for an inhale. Stay for the exhale. Press into the feet. Inhale, rise back up, reach up, maybe look up. Exhale, hands down. It's the same breath out through chaturanga. Inhale, back bend. Downward facing dog. Spin the right toes out. Step the left foot up. Inhale, reach up, warrior one. Wrap the arms behind you. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, humble warrior. Full breath in. Long breath out. Press into the feet. Inhale, rise up, reach up, maybe look up. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step back, vinyasa. Downward facing dog, 5 breaths. Maybe you want to exhale through the mouth or flutter out through the lips. Bend your knees, inhale, look towards the hands. Step or lightly jump to the top of the mat. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Utkatasana, chair pose. Rise to stand, Tadasana. All right, so we're gonna stand into the left leg, bend and lift the right knee. So I want your focus here to be on keeping the spine nice and long, okay? So at any point, you're gonna rebend the right knee to help keep the length in the spine. So straighten the right leg as much as you can without, kind of rounding or leaning back. Find your balance. And then this is a little tricky. You're gonna take the leg out to the right. Keep trying to lengthen and then hug your outer left hip in. Find your drishti, so that's that gaze point. If you feel yourself leaning, maybe bend the right knee if you haven't already. And then bring the leg back through center, release and shake it out. So this is one of those moments where you have to be pretty honest with yourself and you're developing that body awareness of like, well, what is my torso doing? And yeah, the leg might be straight, but if you're really rounding, then you're kind of defeating the purpose of this little drill. So standing into the right leg, bend and lift the left knee. If the left hip pulls up, drop it down. Maintain, lengthen the spine, extend the leg as much as you can. And then like a gate, you're just swinging the leg open.
Hug the outer right hip in, so that's glute med working on the right side to keep the hips level. Draw the leg back through center and release, shake it out. Whew, it's a sneaky little fiery one. Come to stand at the top of the mat. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, step or float, vinyasa. Downward facing duck. Lift the right leg. Bend the knee, open up through the hip. Stay here, or if you wish to flip your dog, you can shift forwards a little to help lift the chest up. Make sure your left shoulder is happy. You're pressing the floor away from you. Three-legged dog is where we meet. Right leg is lifted. Draw your right knee to your outer right arm and shift forwards like you were going into plank. Inhale, extend the leg up and back. Knee to nose, pull it in. Step the right foot forwards, warrior two, ground the back foot down, come on up. So take a moment to find your legs, arrange your feet, and then we'll take the right arm up alongside the ear, bend your elbow. Give yourself a little pat on the back, and then left hand to your right elbow. Press your head back into your right arm. Now feel free to stay here, and this is a perfect option, or you can wrap the left arm behind you and find the full Gomukhasana arms. Pull the ribs back in. Take a breath here. Exhale, come down like side angle. Inhale to lift back up. Exhale, come down like side angle. Lift back up. Last one, we're going to come down like side angle and then hold and breathe here. So if you feel like your torso is rounding towards the mat, I want you to back out of the arms a little bit and then think of scooping your right ribs, so that's the bottom ribs, more towards the left. And as you do that, try to keep your right knee tracking in line with the second and third toe. Press into the feet, lift all the way up, warrior two, re-extend your arms, straighten through the front leg. Reach forwards as you come into triangle pose, right hand down, lift the left arm up. So my right hip is pulling back and I'm allowing this left hip to kind of roll in a little. And then same thing as we spoke about in our side plank, try to find length from your right hip to your right underarm. So this right side is really lengthening. And then either stay here, or if you wish to add on, you can hold opposite elbows back behind you or interlace the fingers. And use this to help you scoop the right ribs towards the left. Lifting all the way back up, warrior two. Flip the front palm, inhale, reverse, hold here. Wrap the left arm behind you for a half bind. So you might be able to grab your inner right thigh. Maybe you're grabbing a piece of clothing or your hip. We're going to keep this bind as we shift into Ardha Chandrasana half moon. Look forwards, right hand out in front of you or maybe onto a block. Find your balance. So same thing that we've been talking about. Find length from your right hip to your right underarm. Drive the left heel back. Maybe you're able to hover the hand away from the mat. And then spin the chest to the left. With control, step back, warrior two. Flip the front palm, inhale, reverse. Hands to the floor, Vashisthasana, blade edge of left foot, left hand, reach the right arm up. So you could stagger the feet like we did at the beginning. You can stack them, and if you wish to add on, spin the right toes towards the ceiling and then lift the right leg up. Try to lift your bottom hip away from the mat. Last full breath in.
Exhale, release, vinyasa, or skip it out.
Downward facing dog. Lift your left leg. Bend the knee, open up through the hips, stay or shift forwards a little so that you can flip your dog wild thing. Back to three-legged dog. Lift the left leg up and back.
Left knee to your outer left arm. Shift forwards into a plank-like position. Inhale, extend the leg back. Knee to nose. Step through, warrior two.
Ground the back foot down. Come on up. Find your feet. Find your legs. Adjust your pants, your hair, whatever it might be. And then we'll add in the arms. So left arm up alongside the ear, bend the elbow. Right hand to your left elbow. Press your head back into your arm. Stay here or find the full Gomukhasana arms. Take a breath. Exhale, come down like side angle. Lift back up. Exhale to lower. And lift. Last one, we're gonna lower and hold. See if you can find that alignment that we spoke about on the first side. Press into the feet to lift back up, warrior two. Straighten through the front leg. Inhale, reach forwards, Trikonasana, left hand down, right arm reaches up. Again, find a moment to adjust the legs, finding length through the left side of the body. And then if you wish to add on, you can hold opposite elbows behind you or interlace your fingers. And again, if you're rounding the torso towards the floor, just come back into your regular triangle pose. Soften the elbows a little. That's for all my hypermobile people, of which I am part of that crew. Rise all the way up, warrior two. Flip the front palm, inhale, reverse. Drape the right arm behind you, find your half bind. Carry the half bind with you as you move into Ardha Chandrasana. So I like half binding in this pose because it provides you with a bit of feedback. Think of pressing your spine back into your right arm as the arm presses into your back. Maybe you're able to find that you can hover the left hand away from the mat. Step back, warrior two. Flip the front palm, reverse. Hands to the floor. We're going Vashisthasana, side plank, blade edge of right foot, right hand. Reach the left arm up. Stay here or spin the left toes towards the ceiling and then lift the left leg. Lift your bottom hip away from the floor. Last full breath in. Exhale, release, vinyasa. Downward facing dog. I'm going to take about 5 breaths here. So if you need to rest, maybe find child's pose. Wherever you are, trying to get the breath back under control. Downward facing dog. Inhale through your nose.
Open mouth, exhale.
Lift the right leg. Bend the knee, open up through the hip. Last time, maybe flipping the dog. Back to three-legged dog, lifting the right leg up and back. Right knee to your right upper arm, squeeze it high. Inhale, extend the leg back. Knee to nose, step right foot to right thumb. Keep the left hand down, reach your right arm up for a twist. You could always come up onto the left fingertips or place a block underneath the hand. And then hug your right hip back as you open through your chest. Spread the weight through your right foot. And then really press down through the right foot. You're gonna upright the torso. Right arm comes to the back of the left leg. Left arm reaches up and back. Revolved crescent. Lift the torso back up. You're gonna cut your left elbow across the right thigh. Find your prayer twist. And if you need, lower the back knee down. Find the twist and either stay here or again, you could lift the back knee up. Roll the right shoulder back and down. Press into the feet, inhale, lift up. Open out a warrior two. Straighten through the front leg and give that leg a shake. Whew. Maybe you want to massage that right hip a little bit. All right, warrior two. We're coming into extended side angle, either forearm to thigh, reaching the left arm forwards. If you want to take it further, right hand to the inside of the right foot, and then maybe draping the left arm behind you for a half, or perhaps for some of you, a full bind. Same principle applies here. We want to be opening the chest. So if you're here in your bound side angle, think of releasing the bottom arm and just rolling that left shoulder back. So if you've got a full or half bind, maybe you're going to stick with that bind as you straighten through the front leg for a bound trikonasana. Being careful not to hyperextend the front leg. Now I'm going to come into a half bind here as we shift into half moon. Right hand out in front. Of course, if you have fully bound half moon, you could be doing that. It's a little more advanced though, so I'm not going to teach it in this practice. Both hands to the floor, standing splits. So you're folding over the right leg. Left foot to the top of the mat, find Malasana. Familiar. So we're going to take our right hand to the right ankle or the shin, whatever you can grab, and reach up and over with the left arm. So your option is to stay here or thread the right arm underneath your right leg. Take the left arm behind you, find a bind. And then you need to heel toe the feet a little closer together. So what we were doing at the beginning of practice. Come up onto the ball of the right foot and then start to lift up into bird of paradise. Now before you straighten your right leg, I want you to upright the torso. Lengthening through the sides of the waist. And then if you can maintain that length, maybe go ahead and straighten the right leg. Rebend the right knee, slowly coming back down into Malasana, which is where we meet. Maybe that was your first time doing Bird of Paradise. You'll have to let me know how it went. So left hand's going to come to the ground. Step your left foot back. Take your peace fingers around the right big toe. finding Vashisthasana maybe with the right leg lifted. And of course, you can modify with any other version of Vashisthasana here. If you really want to challenge the balance, lift your gaze to your right foot. Last full breath in. Exhale, release, vinyasa. Let go of the big toes if you're doing that. Otherwise, that would be very challenging. And back to downward facing dog. I'll lift the left leg. Bend the knee, open up through the hip, maybe flipping the dog. And back to three-legged dog, left leg lifts. Draw your knee to your outer left arm, squeeze it high. Inhale, extend. Knee to nose, step left foot to left thumb. Right hand stays down, reach the left arm up. And just make sure that you're not dropping this right hip to the ground a lot as well. So you want to be lifting it up so that the pelvis is kind of stable. And then you're opening through the chest. Pressing down fully through the left foot, upright the torso, left arm comes to the back of the right leg, right arm reaches up and back. Upright the torso, cut your right elbow across the left thigh, find your prayer crescent twist. Remember, you can always drop that back knee down if you need. Press into the feet, lift all the way up. Open out a warrior two. It's coming, guys. Straighten through the front leg and shake out that hip a little. Whew. All right, rebend the front knee. Side angle pose, Utthita Parishvakonasana, reaching the right arm forwards. If you want to go further, drop the left hand to the inside of the left leg, maybe adding in a half or full bind. So the purpose of the bind is not to do the bind itself or to find the wrist or the fingers, but the purpose of the bind is to help open the shoulders. So if you're binding and the shoulders feel gross or it feels like you're rounding, then perhaps just backing out a little. So this is where you got to check in with your ego. So you're going to keep whatever bind that you have. You might need to shorten the stance a little bit as you straighten through the left leg for triangle pose. And then I'm going to switch to a half bind here as we shift into Ardha Chandrasana, half moon, lifting the right leg. Standing splits, both hands to the floor. Just going to hop back a little, fold over the left leg. Last time, Malasana, feet wide, drop the hips down. Whew. Left hand to your shin or to your ankle, reach the right arm up and over. This is a really nice way to get into the hips and then to add that side bend, so feel free to stay there. If you're working bird of paradise, thread the left arm underneath the left leg, find the bind. Heel toe the feet together, or at least a little bit closer, and come up onto the ball of the left foot. Find your balance as you start to make your way up. Go slow. Upright the torso first, and then maybe extending the left leg.
and rebend the left knee, lowering all the way back down. Malasana. All right, last time, right hand down, step the right foot back. Find the peace fingers around the left big toe for Vashisthasana. This is Vashisthasana B. Whoop, in my case, a little wobbly. And release Vinyasa. Downward facing dog. Take a breath in through the nose. Open mouth, exhale. Shift into plank. Lower down onto your forearms. Hold, breathe, last little bit of core here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower your hips, a Sphinx pose. Think of pulling the chest through the shoulders. If it's okay on the lower back, you might tent your fingers, straightening the arms, coming into cobra. You could always make the back bend a little deeper as well by bending the knees, working into king cobra, but that's just an option. We haven't overly worked towards it, but I know some of you guys love your back bends. And release all the way down. Simply roll straight over onto your back. You can hug your knees into your chest. Take them wide. Press the lower back down into the floor. So I'm going to offer up 2 more back bends here. If you want to skip back bends today or kind of take a more restorative one, you could slide a block or bolster underneath the sacrum and take a supported bridge. Otherwise, we're going to move into bridge pose. So setting the feet up about hips width distance apart, you guys probably all know where you're going with your bridge. Think of curling the tailbone up towards the backs of the knees and then press into the feet to lift the hips. Maybe you're interlacing your fingers. The thing with back bends is simply because of the title, back bend, we tend to focus all on the spine and on the arch that this shape creates, which is valid. But remember, we're also massively stretching through the whole front or anterior part of the body. So maybe you're feeling a stretch into your quads or hip flexors, maybe into your belly and your chest. And we're going to lower the hips all the way down. So 1 more round, either repeating what we've just done. For some of you, maybe you're going to add in wheel or Urdhva Dhanurasana. So if you're moving there, hands coming alongside the ears, fingers facing towards the shoulders. Do everything the same as bridge, curling the tailbone up. You're going to lift onto the crown of the head and then straighten your arms for wheel. Be somewhere where you can breathe fully and deeply. Lowering all the way down. Hug your knees into your chest, give them a squeeze. Continue to hug the right knee in as you extend the left leg long. We'll take this into the twist, drawing the knee over to the left.
Right arm out to the right. You can turn your gaze towards your right hand. Or if, that doesn't feel comfortable on the neck, don't worry about it. Coming back through center. Extending the right leg, hugging the left knee in. And taking the leg over to the right, left arm out to the left for your twist. And as we enter towards the final few moments of practice, this is less about the depth or the intensity of the pose, but more about the energetics. So starting to be soft. Forgetting about what did or didn't happen on the mat. Coming back to your breath. Coming back through center. Take a final symmetrical finishing pose. Maybe that's happy baby. Today, guys, I really feel like plow, so I'm gonna take the legs back. I'm gonna support my lower back here. Maybe for you, it's legs up. Maybe you're gathering props, maybe moving to the wall. I always think it's nice to finish practice with asymmetrical pose so the body feels balanced on both sides. And really let your body be your guide. Once you feel like you've gotten everything that you needed out of your practice, physically speaking, you'll make your way into your final resting pose, whatever shape that takes. It could be a traditional shavasana, maybe you're choosing to sit in meditation. Wherever you're choosing to be, try to stay for a couple of minutes. If you have the time, maybe longer. Really let your body relax. Thank you so much for joining me in practice today. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Namaste.